Hello, my lovely. You didn't get to where you are in your business by doing shit the way that everybody else does. And you know that what got you to where you are now is not going to get you to where you want to be. And if you are listening to this podcast, it's because you want to be the go-to for what you do better than anywhere else. Your unrepeatable stack of genius is the niche. Being you, that bold, unfuckwithable presence that you've been secretly craving to set free, she's in there and she's ready to come home. But that means you will have to burn some bridges down. And attracting your fuck yes dreamy clients will also repel those who are not for you. Fucking hooray. Because becoming a force of nature business and brand means no more Miss People Pleaser, no more hiding your turbo brain, no more dimming down jack shit. And if you have ever been told to turn it down as a woman with later life diagnosed ADHD, it is time to tone your shit all the way back up. That is how you create unstoppable momentum in your business and visibility, even though it's something you may have been avoiding. It's what you truly want, and this is how you get it. This podcast is about stepping up into your upgrade because watering down anything never changed the fucking world. You were not born to be forgettable. And as one of my all-time favorite quotes says, well-behaved women rarely make history, and nothing about you or me is well-behaved, at least not anymore. In today's episode, there's no script. There's no bullet points. There's never usually a script, but there's usually bullet points. Not doing that today. I'm just coming in rogue, and I'm going to talk to you about the last couple of weeks in my life, in my business. Behind the scenes, I got COVID. I was very sick, sicker than I probably wanted to admit, which I will talk about. And kind of some of the light bulb things that happened within this that showed me certain things about myself that you may see yourself in. So it's going to be very ADHD off the top of my head train of thought. So I'm really excited to share this with you. And before we get started, if you are done working with normie coaches and you're ready to talk to somebody who just gets you, book your free 30-minute call with me. It's not a coaching call. It's a diagnostic call to look at where you are, what you feel isn't working for your brain, and what business growth looks like when you stop trying to follow normie business coaching industry shit that doesn't work for you and you start working with your brain instead of against it. Also, I am a specialist. You are my specialty. You're all I work with day in and day out. So who better? DM me on Instagram at Carry Out Loud or apply to work with me. Both of those links are also in the show notes. So let's get into today's topic. Welcome back to the ADHD Entrepreneu, the podcast for my feral. I can't talk today. The podcast for my fairy. What the frick? Okay, I'm not even cutting this out because this is just real life here. My fellow feral online coaches with ADHD who refuse to play by the fucking rules. It's not like I don't say that every single week, Carrie, or anything. That's my brain fog. That's part of what I'm here to talk about today. But I'm Carrie. I'm your host. I'm the chief weirdo of Carry Out Loud. And if you are new here, welcome. Take a second to go check out the trailer for the podcast because there's a little bit more information about who I am, my origin story, and all that jazz if you're curious. If you are not new here, welcome back, you sexy beast. And we're going to go ahead and talk about what happened. So the first thing I noticed was when I got sick, actually, I didn't notice this until about 9 days in, is that I do not know how to surrender in some ways because of that constant brain chatter, right? Our brains feel like they're always on. And we have to find ways to kind of calm it, right? And that did not go well. I've been pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing since January just because of all of the things that have been happening behind the scenes and in front of the scenes in my business. And finally, I'm going to assume that my immunity was down because of that stress. Because I do not get sick. It's super freaking rare. but I've noticed a pattern that when I get sick, it's because I'm in some high pressure, high stress moment where I feel like I'm about to pop, I'm about to burst. And then all of a sudden my body's like, well, here you go. Lay down. And so it all kind of started on like a Tuesday. And then I felt I'm like, something's wrong. I was visiting my husband in the hospital on that day. And I was like, no, I'm leaving, because just the thought of starting to feel something, I can't even be near him because he's in chemo. Right. So I left, and I hadn't seen him again until yesterday because I couldn't be around him, making sure that like he couldn't get sick. And not even that, I was exhausted. I didn't even leave the house for 2 weeks. Like, I'm not joking when I say this, like literally 14 days I was here in my house. Your girl needed some sunshine. If you can see him a little bit, not my rosy cheeked self, but that's okay because I finally feel better. Then I'm part of the way through being sick. And I decide, okay, I'm done being sick now. I'm going to just go do what I got to do. I thought in my mind, I'm going to decide to do that. And I did that, and it took me out for 3 days. And I'm like, okay, wait. There's a lesson here. There's something in this. It's the force, right? I know that our minds are very powerful and we can do a lot with our minds, but I also had a body with a virus, and I can't cure a virus with my mind. I don't know. Maybe you believe you can. If that's a belief of yours, let's talk, because that would be interesting. But I knew the last time I had COVID, it was a week of feeling horrible and then another week of starting to recover. So that was 14 days. And my husband reminded me of that. But at around the 9-day mark, I just tried to push myself into being better. And that had the opposite effect, the absolute opposite effect. So I feel like the lesson there is that force ain't it, right? Sometimes you have to push, and other times you have to surrender. That's the flip side. I did not surrender to even being sick. I was still trying to go through my day and trying to do certain things. Some of the days I literally could do nothing. I was asleep. I was sleeping on and off for several days. My mom was coming to check in on me. I gave her a key to the house. I was checking in with her every 6 hours because my lungs weren't working great. I was pretty scared. And so my husband was being cared for at his mom's house, which she has taken lovely care of him. He's had steak dinners and happy little camper. But I realized that I didn't realize how unwell I was and how scared I was, but I didn't want to expose my mom. You know, she's 73, my stepmom, she's 63, and I don't know, maybe it's 53 and 70. I'm 53. No. Y'all, can you see, the reason I'm coming here to record this like I am today is this is real. This is some real brain fog happening from being sick. But there was too much goodness to not come here. So if I don't sound quite like my normal self, it's a little bit of the brain fog still wearing off. But I didn't want to get anybody else sick. So what we decided was Donnie would go to his mom's. My mom would have the key to my house, and I would check in with her every 6 hours as I took the aspirin, Tylenol, because I had to take that every 6 hours. I was literally like changing my clothes 2 to 3 times a day from just the fucking sweat. It was pretty fucking bad. Luckily, they have medication for it. The first time I had COVID was way back in 2022, and I did not have the medication. I just literally had to ride it out, and that was horrible. But this time I was able to get into the doctor within the first 5 days, and they gave the medication to me, and it helped I could feel it starting to work within 24 hours. So that was a good sign. So of course I'm thinking, okay, well, there's 5 days of this. By the last day, I'll be just fine. I'll be just good to go. Wrong answer. That was not real. That wasn't it. What also happened while I was in bed sick was watching David Letterman's show on Netflix called My Next Guest Needs No Introduction, I believe. And I started watching all these different episodes, and I watched episodes of people who are not socially acceptable to some people, kind of like Kanye West was on there, Kim Kardashian was on there, but also, like President Obama was on there, Tina Fey was on there. And I was watching all of these different things. And I started seeing a pattern of artists and people who are creatives or who do things like, anything that's outside of the norm, how weird we all feel. It doesn't matter where you are in life, what your status is, how much money you're making, all of that. They all still had that like deep self-doubt and talked about it out loud. And I was like, wow, this is really fascinating. It's so apparent that they have divergent ways of thinking. That doesn't necessarily mean they have ADHD, but it's just different. It's just not the status quo, right? And how judged people have felt for that, and how, for being different, for choosing a different path, for choosing a different road in life. And it was hard for me to surrender. But what finally made me do it was on a coaching call. I was on a coaching call, and my mentor, I spoke up about how I was feeling, what was going on behind the scenes with me, what was going on with my husband, and some of the other stuff that has been going on. And I was like, I just feel like I'm going to just pop. I'm going to just burst. I feel like a grape getting squeezed from all different sides, and I'm just going to pop. And she said, well, then pop. And I was like, what? In my mind, I'm like, I can't do that. I have to barrel through everything. Blah, blah, blah. And she was right. She was right. So you guys all know what the frying pan of love is. And if you don't, it's where I deliver news to my clients or tell my clients something that they may not want to hear, but they need to hear. And I say it in a way with so much love that they may be able to, their rebellious brain may be able to hear me. I only hire mentors that I also feel that way. I want their frying pan of love to me, right? So in that coaching relationship, they have that kind of carte blanche with me because these are women I've hired who I trust and who have a fantastic reputation. So, and I know to be true from working with them. So being able to be on that particular call, that was last Thursday, a week ago today. And it was the moment I finally let go and surrendered. Yes, I'm very sick. I need to do literally nothing in order to get better. And the other piece to that was stuff was still happening in my business while I was resting. And it was, again, just another moment of being clear about the fact that my business is set up in a way that is conducive for energy ebbs and flows, or for time that we need to step back. It's also a big benefit of having at least one person that you work with, whether it's a virtual assistant, an OBM, whatever capacity, somebody behind the scenes in your business, when that time is right to have that. That is part of what gave me the capability to even lay down and be sick. Once I finally acknowledged it was happening after 9 days, which that in and of itself, I'm not even sure what the fuck that's about. Why it's like, I'm sick, but I'm still going to just keep doing it. Like, I don't know if that's society pressure. I really don't know where it comes from to just like not rest. Maybe because we're a society that's like based on pushing productivity to all the time. And in reality, I build white space into my calendar. But what I realized I didn't do is build space into my calendar for just quiet, like contemplating time about my business, not sitting at my desk and just thinking, writing, I haven't done a lot of that. And it's kind of weird to me. But this taught me that that's really important. That's what I'm getting to. The whole point of the story is, the self-trust gap is something that a lot of women with ADHD experience, right? What I thought it was deepened, like my brain having that downtime, even though I was sick, towards the end, my brain was working fine. It was like my body that didn't want to cooperate, right? my brain and the constellation thinking and the putting everything together all the time and seeing patterns, all of a sudden I saw the pattern in myself and realizing that the self-trust gap it looks like two things. It's two parts. It's the fact that you don't trust yourself because you've been given, Dr. William Dodson says, 20,000 more negative messages before you're age 12. As a kid, if you haven't been diagnosed with ADHD, right? That's a lot just by the time you're 12. Then you get into adulthood and there's certain things you are fucking fierce at and other things that you cannot do to save your life. And then the judgment starts walking in the door, then the shame and all of that stuff. And at the end of the day, when we find out we have ADHD or realize we have ADHD, part of the rage that some of us feel is from the fact we have been right about our gut and our instincts all along. And all of these neurotypical people around us told us that what we were doing is wrong, how we think is wrong, how we show up is wrong, the way we speak, the volume at which, all that fucking bullshit. I had somebody tell me one time that I typed too loud. What is that even? Right? I don't even know. But the second part of the self-trust gap is the rage of realizing that you've been fucking capable of so much this whole time. And had you not had all of the negative messages, and then on top of the negative messages, believed them, because at some point you took the negative messages and probably resisted for a while. And finally you heard it so much, you're like, well, shit, I guess it's true. When it's just not. It's just not. And so I felt, I always like to have a reason for everything, and there's not a reason for everything. But getting sick, it almost feels like the reason I needed this kind of downtime and quiet time was for the rest of this self-trust gap information to really come to me and for me to articulate it. And what does it look like when you don't have the self-trust as compared to when you do? Well, I'll give you an example with a client. When a client first comes to me and their self-trust is kind of in their shoes, even though they have successful businesses and they're doing the fucking thing, they don't trust themselves enough, and they will come to me with an offer and say, well, what do you think of this? What do you think of this offer? That's the beginning. After they've been with me, I would say probably at least about the 3-ish month mark. And for some, it's earlier because we do everything simultaneously in rebuilding the self-trust and simplifying the business. About 3 months later, they come to me and say, hey, I have this great idea. I need you to help me figure out like the marketplace for this, the marketing, like, and any things that I want you to take a look over the structure, any things that I don't see, give me feedback. That's a whole different person, right? So, and for some, it starts earlier than others. For some, it evolves faster than others. For some, once they realize that this is maybe the thing they've had rage about, the rage kind of goes away and they can look underneath it. So having that last part click in, if I wouldn't have gone on the coaching call on Thursday with Danielle and then really just let myself pop and just stop. I stopped everything and just let myself do nothing for 3 days, which sounds like not a lot because it's not. But in our minds, it's like, these are the 3 days when everything in life is going to happen. No, nothing is. Look, we're not doctors. Nobody's dying. No one's losing a limb here. And if you do right by your clients within it, you're going to be, everything will be fine. But I feel like it was very clear to me how I didn't build in enough, I guess, well, what Brooke and I were talking about was my behind the scenes maven was the integration time. I haven't had time to allow everything to absorb. And I'm also an emotional manifesting generator, which means I have to go through all of the emotions of it before I make my decisions. And so being in the middle of the emotion is not the time. So now that I'm outside of all of that and outside of the emotion, it's so clear, because I just wrote down little notes when they would come to me over those few days when my body was still being an asshole, but my brain was, still there. And or finally the brain fog was starting to wear off. And this other part showed up. So I guess my question to you is, do you sit and take time to pause? Or are you like my stupid ass sometimes? And I'm not being mean to myself here. I'm just like being a dumbass. We're all dumbasses sometimes. Just being a dumbass and thinking that I was taking the type of downtime that I needed, and it was abundantly clear that I don't. So now it's me looking at my schedule, and my schedule's pretty fabulous. I mean, I definitely have shifted that. And it's like the sisterhood calls on Thursdays, and then I work with my clients throughout the week on Boxer. I mean, I fucking love it. It hits me in the dopamine, and it's flexible, and I can kind of do any, respond to my clients when they need it. And then we have the one meeting, and I don't feel like I'm always on demand because it's only certain days of the week. And, if this sounded like a good idea to you and you're like, oh, 5 days is too many, you could have Voxer open Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Like the point is, there's so many different ways to do this that makes sense for our brain. Once I learned the proper delivery for me, it changed my business a lot, like the delivery method of my offers. What did I actually like getting paid for and how? So to just kind of wrap this up and bring it full circle, no force. Forcing things can make it worse before it gets better. Allowing things to evolve, which I know is not our strong suit. It's now or not now. Okay, I get that. But by allowing things to evolve in my own business, the things that come through that evolution have been amazing and totally worth it. 2, when you are sick, do everything in your power to just allow yourself to fucking be sick. I understand there's family obligations that being a parent, like I know this is easy for me to say, but do whatever you can because you don't want to prolong it. Please don't let yourself get so stressed that you've backed yourself into a corner and you get sick because your immunity is down, everything is down, your fight or flight is always up. Like I've been living in fight or flight since January 3rd, for a fact. And I didn't see it until I was taken out at the knees and I was forced to look. And it's really interesting. I'll add one little side note here. I feel like I've continually said, oh, all my masks have come off. All of my masks have come off. And then I'd be like, oh, yes, a final mask finally came off. And then another few weeks later, I'm like, damn, I realize it's layers. It's layers. And one of my clients who's an ADHD coach, I love her so much. She's like, yeah, I knew another mask was coming off real soon. She goes, I don't know if it was just my pattern recognition or what. She's like, I just could feel it happening. And I was like, wow, that's pretty amazing. And for one of my clients to even just give me that reflection too is just a testament to the trust that we have, because I loved hearing that. But that is something I did want to say here at the end of all of this, is that I think I know it shook something loose in me being sick. Like, I am not on this earth to please everybody, which of course we know. I'm not on this earth to be a people pleaser or even a recovering people pleaser. I just want to be a people lover because I do love people. My behind the scenes maven gave me a beautiful reflection about my content, which, she gave me back my own frying pan of love. And I love that because she understands me in my business. And she says, your content is so good, but your heart is missing. And I have this like big marshmallowy heart inside. It's kind of like, that hard shell chocolate that you put on ice cream and it like gets hard on top there and just like tapping it. You can hear that like tick, tick, tick sound. But you take that spoon and you tap it hard enough and there's the ice cream. There's the good stuff. I'm trying to have less of that harder exterior and letting more of the marshmallow part of me come out, because I'm both straight up and fierce, and I will ask you the hard fucking questions, and I care about your business growth. I will out care any mentor out there. You can ask my clients, and care in a way that's not like superficial rah-rah sis boom bah cheerleading, but like I truly give a shit. But I haven't let the ooey gooey middle out as much. It used to be easier for me. It's just not as easy anymore. I don't know why. I don't know why. But well, that's not true. I know why. I years of feeling and thinking and believing certain things and shifting them. It's not easy. And I said this in my stories, and I'm going to leave you with this. If you've ever listened to this podcast and thought, man, she looks like she has it all together, please understand that you said a very key phrase. It looks like she has everything together. No, I don't. No, I do not. But I'm further ahead than on my business knowledge than my clients. And that's what I'm here for. I'm walking on the road next to them. I'm never going to lead from the front or from the back, cracking a whip ever. And I love leading from the front sometimes, but leading from the middle is my favorite. It's that middle place. It's so good. So I just wanted to come here and riff today on this experience and being in bed with David Letterman. I know, sexy, right? But no, really just listening to these other people who have worked so hard on their craft, and some of them, like Kanye West, not a fan at all, but that man has bipolar, and it is not an excuse for anything that he does or says, but it's a reason. It's a reason. And just watching some of the other people, even David Letterman talking, they can't take positive feedback, positive attention. Like was just so wild to see it all in front of my face, just see the pattern with interview after interview after interview of these people. And it just made me realize that this is all boils down to being your genuine self and coming home to yourself. And I think I've still been working on that. It started 3 years ago with my diagnosis. I am a work in progress. Please, there is no perfection here. I tell my own clients about my own coaching that I receive. One of my clients said that she hadn't had somebody who had discussed hiring a mentor themselves or even talked about it or whatever. I'm like, well, why would I ask anybody to do something that, one, I'm not willing to do, and two, that I'm not actively participating in? That doesn't make any sense. So to wrap it up, which I think I've already said, but to wrap it up, make sure that you are not pushing yourself so hard that your immune system is going to lower and you're going to just be forced, because your body will do that at some point. I can guarantee you. If you don't have enough white space in your calendar, if you're feeling overwhelmed, any of those things, please reach out, because this is what I help people with day in and day out. The overcomplication and the lack of self-trust. It's called imposter syndrome so often, but it's not imposter syndrome. It's not like you are afraid of being found out. It's that you're afraid to make the wrong decision and the wrong choice. You don't trust yourself. That's you. Like, that is the root cause of every woman who comes through my door. But it really shifts when they work with me. And that's a beautiful thing. It shifts for women who really didn't even think it could shift for them. That is the cool part about my work. So with that, I'm going to end today's episode. And I challenge you to do something after this episode. Go DM me the word chat at Carrie Out Loud on Instagram and tell me the number one thing in your business that feels like it's keeping you stuck, that feels heavy, that feels overwhelming, that doesn't make sense to your ADHD brain. Shoot it to me. Just that. I read every single one. I respond personally. I man my Instagram chat. And this one DM could really change the trajectory of your business. So go send it. I got you. And also become an insider. Get on my email, get into my world there, and subscribe to the newsletter. It's called The Frequency. And that's really where I go into more long form writing, which I love. Links for that are also in the show notes. So until next time, I see you. I love you. Where can you build in some white space this week? Try it. You know I'm rooting for you always. Love you. Stay feral. Bye. Oh, hey, you're still here. Thank you for listening all the way to the end. Be sure to check out the show notes for all the ways to follow me. And of course, my goal is to find and help as many women with ADHD get away from the 9-to-5 grind, because it's just not designed for our neurospicy brilliance, and there are other ways to do life. So by subscribing, sharing, and giving a 5-star review, it helps other women find this podcast as well. And if there's an episode you really love, please feel free to take a screenshot and share it on your social and tag me in it so that I can thank you personally. Until next time, you spicy brained unicorn. Bye.